is Bree Miller. I'm 25 years old and I live in Simi Valley, California, where I was actually born and raised. And I am the owner of Bree's Cakes in Los Angeles, where I specialize in custom cakes and specialty desserts. A few fun facts about me is that I am the youngest of 7 kids, 5 of those being boys. And I have been playing soccer for over 12 years, so I think I'm just naturally competitive when it comes to any type of contest or competition. And I love traveling. So tonight I am actually working on a large event, so I'm going to be prepping some of my famous Oreo red velvet brownies. I started baking as a hobby actually about 5 years ago, and I think I was immediately inspired by all those TV shows that were like big at that time, like Cake Boss and Ace of Cakes and Food Network Challenge. So I just was like, I want to do that. So I guess I was a little ambitious in the beginning, and I thought I could do what they were doing on TV, and it was a lot harder than it seemed. So after a lot of trials, lots of errors, I eventually turned my passion into a business, and 5 years later I would have never thought that I would have a growing, successful business with large clientele that includes celebrities and professional athletes and all that stuff. So it's really cool to look back at how far I've come. People ask me all the time where I learned how to bake, if I went to school, if I grew up baking, if my mom taught me. Like, I think they're always surprised by my answer because I'm like, no, I'm self-taught. Like, I taught myself by YouTube videos, and any question that I had, I just would like Google it, and then I would just practice until I got it. And I think that's pretty cool because I feel like most bakers can't say that they're 100% self-taught. I like to think that I have a pretty outgoing personality. I am very easygoing, and I love being around people, love meeting new people. I'm definitely one of those go with the flow kind of girls. I definitely have a girly side, but I also have my tomboy side where you can just throw me in a bar with some beer and football and I'll be a happy camper. But I don't know, I'm not really sure how other people would describe me. Maybe say I'm sweet, pun intended. I don't know. But I have no idea. Bree, no. This is my best friend. Let's see what people think about Bree.
Well, how would I describe Bree? She's definitely a free spirit. She is the hardest worker that I know. She is awake when I go to sleep, and when I wake up in the morning, she's awake again, and our apartment smells like desserts 24/7. I would know. I live with her.
As I finish up this batter right here, I'm going to kind of explain to you guys some of my favorite desserts. Starting with this one, I am making a very moist and delicious red velvet brownie. But my secret to this recipe is that I actually stick a whole Oreo on top, so that when I flip out the brownies, there's like a hidden Oreo at the bottom of the brownie. So it's kind of a cool surprise. And so first I'm going to show you how I separate my egg yolks from my egg whites. You just take a normal water bottle that's empty, of course, and you're just going to place it over the yolk that you want to separate and squeeze out all the air and let it kind of fill up with the egg. And then it just kind of separates the yolk for you, and you can kind of just put the yolk in the other one. And you just squeeze out all the air and take out the yolk, let the white fall out. I just think that's pretty cool because the water bottle kind of does all the dirty work for you. So what makes these red velvet brownies kind of stick out from any other brownie is it not only has cocoa powder, but I like to use freshly melted chocolate, which is what I did on over at the stove over there, just melted yummy chocolate. And that just kind of makes the brownie really moist and really rich and not too like dry, because I hate dry brownies. So adding the chocolate definitely makes it more moist. And then another trick, I actually do this with all my batters, not just my brownies, but I love whipping the eggs with the sugar before I add any other type of dry ingredient or to whip it until the eggs get nice and fluffy and I guess like a pale yellow. And then you fold in all the other ingredients, and that just helps the brownie stay very light and fluffy. So one of my best sellers, I would have to say, are my strawberry cheesecake bites, which are your not so traditional strawberry cheesecake. So what I do is I take these really big juicy strawberries and I pour out the inside so it's almost like a little cup, and I mix up this delicious creamy cream cheese cheesecake filling and actually pipe it into a swirl inside of the strawberry, and then I roll that top into graham cracker crumbs, and then you can't have strawberry without chocolate. So then I drizzle them all with dark chocolate, and they're just to die for. One of the best desserts to me around the springtime or summertime is definitely my lemon molten cake. It is delicious. It's not like your average chocolate molten cake. It's an actual lemon-based cake filled with a lemon curd, like a heated lemon curd, so it spills out when you cut into it. And I like to top it with other fresh seasonal fruits like raspberries, blueberries, and strawberries, and I make this nice compote and pour it over the lemon molten cake, and I would either serve it with some whipped cream, some fresh made mascarpone cream, or even French vanilla ice cream. Just gonna be really bluntly honest with you, I make the best chocolate chip cookies. I know it's such a simple dessert and every baker makes chocolate chip cookies, but mine are simply the best. So I was trying to figure out how I could spruce it up a little bit or make it stand out a little bit more, and I decided to stuff my chocolate chip cookies. Now you may ask, what is stuffing a chocolate chip cookie? I stuff these cookies with my favorite candy bars, like Twix, Reese's, Rolos, Oreos, Snickers, any type of chocolate candy bar that you can think of, I have put inside of a chocolate chip cookie. So another great dessert for the springtime or summertime is my blueberry cheesecake, which is a not so traditional cheesecake. Instead of a graham cracker crust, I put it on top of a pretzel crust. Nice little salty sweet combination going on there, and I load it with a ton of fresh blueberries inside of the cheesecake, and then on top I make a nice whipped cream and put a thin layer on top of the cheesecake, and then I top it with semi-macerated blueberries so that the sauce just kind of drips down the side of the cheesecake, and it literally melts in your mouth, and it is scrumptious. So while those are baking, I'm actually going to share with you guys the story of my first cake. Sad, but it's a good story. I was quite ambitious and thought I could create this awesome 3-tier topsy-turvy cake with store-bought frosting and cake mix. I don't know where my head was at, but I thought I could do it, so I did it. And luckily it wasn't for a customer or anything, it was just for my brother, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But I brought it to his housewarming party, and I just remember holding it in the car in the back seat while my mom was driving, and I was like, oh my gosh, please don't turn to us, please don't turn to us. And then one time she just turned, and the cake went with that turn, and it ended up falling over in the tray that I was holding it in, and it just turned into this complete mush. Like, I used probably like 5 different colors frosting, so it just looked like this brown colored mush. And when I brought it to my brother's house, they were walking in like, happy housewarming, and he just looked at it like he was like, didn't know whether to say thank you or ew. But everybody ended up eating it, and everybody thought it was great, and I guess that it calls for a great story now that that I've learned all the ins and outs of baking. Woo, they're done. Let me tell you why I'm going to beat my competition. I'm constantly working with strict deadlines, so I'm really good at working under pressure, And I also am used to working alone, so I am really good with time management. And I feel like I'm really young and very new to this whole field, so I feel like my fellow competitors are gonna see me as an underdog, but I feel like that's kind of an advantage because I can kind of sneak up behind them and like get them. But I feel like with my determination and my passion is what's gonna really take me to the top.